In the year 2147, Earth stood on the brink of annihilation. The skies darkened as the Verthax fleet loomed overhead, a sinister reminder of their intentions. Towering ships, glistening with ominous metallic surfaces, cast shadows over cities that were once filled with life and hope. The atmosphere crackled with tension as the first explosions shattered the quiet of dawn, sending plumes of smoke spiraling into the air. Commander Elara Voss stood in the heart of the Ark, a fortified underground facility designed as humanity's last bastion. Monitors flickered with grim data, showing the relentless advance of the Verthax and the crumbling defenses above. Around her, a diverse group of scientists, engineers, and military personnel worked feverishly, their faces lit by the cold glow of screens. Panic buzzed in the air, but Elara knew that despair was a luxury they could not afford. "Status report," she shouted, her voice cutting through the chaos like a knife. Dr. Lena Tran, the lead scientist, turned to face her, eyes wide with urgency. "We've lost contact with Central Command. The last transmission indicated that they're mobilizing a final defense, but we don't know how much longer they can hold out. The Verthax are overwhelming us." Elara nodded, her heart pounding. The clock was ticking. "We can't just wait for them to come to us. Initiate Project Resurrection. We need to harness what's left of our technology and our will to fight back. We're not going down without a fight." With a fierce determination igniting her spirit, she gathered her team. "Listen up. The Verthax think they can take our home, but they've underestimated us. We are humanity. We've survived wars, disasters, and now we stand on the edge of extinction. We will not be erased. We will rise." A ripple of energy coursed through the room as the team exchanged glances of renewed purpose. They were no longer merely survivors. They were warriors, driven by the desire to protect what was left of their world. Hours turned into a blur of frantic activity as they worked to activate the remnants of Earth's advanced technology. A plan took shape. They would create a makeshift weapon using salvaged materials, an EMP device capable of disabling the Verthax's advanced systems long enough for humanity to counterattack. But the clock was against them. The invading fleet drew closer with each passing minute, their ships now visible through the facility's observation windows. As alarms blared, the ground shook violently. The team scrambled as the first Verthax ships unleashed their bombardment. Explosions echoed in the distance, and Elara felt the weight of her responsibility press down on her. They needed to act quickly. "Deploy the EMP," she ordered, adrenaline coursing through her veins. With shaky hands, Lena activated the device, and the room filled with an electric hum. A tense silence enveloped the Ark as they watched the monitors, eyes glued to the screen showing the Verthax fleet. The moment felt surreal, a delicate balance between hope and dread. As the EMP launched, it streaked into the sky, illuminating the night like a shooting star. Time seemed to slow as the device struck the nearest mothership, sending ripples of energy coursing through the Verthax fleet. The alien ships faltered, momentarily thrown into disarray. "Now, while they're vulnerable," Elara shouted, her voice ringing with urgency. The team rushed to their stations, readying their weapons and coordinating the counteroffensive. The battle for Earth had begun. With the flicker of hope ignited, they surged forth into the fray, ready to defend their home against the impending darkness. The ashes of their world hung in the balance, and they would fight until their last breath. The initial surge of hope ignited by the EMP quickly faded as the Verthax regrouped and retaliated with ruthless precision. The Ark shook with the impact of their counterattack, alarms blaring incessantly, drowning out the cries of panic that spread among the inhabitants. Elara stood at the command center, her heart racing as she watched the screens flicker with reports of destruction unfolding above. "Casualty reports are coming in from every sector," Lena shouted over the cacophony. "We're losing contact with Central Command. The defenses have been breached." Elara clenched her fists, a wave of anger and despair washing over her. Despite their valiant efforts, the Verthax forces were simply too powerful. Their ships, vast and formidable, unleashed torrents of fire upon the cities above, reducing skyscrapers to rubble and sending plumes of smoke spiraling into the air. The visual was heartbreaking. Entire neighborhoods, once bustling with life, were now mere ashes and debris. "Get me a visual on the surface," Alara commanded, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. A technician swiftly complied, bringing up a feed from one of the drones still operational. The screen displayed a scene of utter devastation. A once vibrant city now lay in ruins, with fires raging uncontrollably. Panic and chaos ruled the streets as people fled in all directions, their lives torn apart by the relentless alien assault. Alara felt her stomach twist at the sight. This was their home, and it was being systematically destroyed. "Reinforce the shields," she ordered, desperate to protect what little remained. "Prepare the ground teams for evacuation. We need to get everyone underground." As her team scrambled to follow her orders, a piercing alarm erupted from the control panel, signaling an incoming transmission. "Commander Voss, this is Central Command." A strained voice crackled through the speakers, barely audible above the din. "We are losing control. The Verthax have breached our main defenses." The feed abruptly cut out, leaving only silence, followed by the low hum of despair in the room. Alara felt the weight of the world pressing down on her shoulders. She was their leader, yet it felt as if the very ground beneath her was crumbling. "Commander," Lena's voice broke through her thoughts, "we need to regroup. If we lose the Ark, we lose our last chance at survival." Alara nodded, swallowing hard as she took a deep breath. "Rally everyone. We can't give up now. We have to fight." But as the ground teams mobilized to assist in evacuation efforts, Alara's heart sank further when she realized they were outnumbered and outmatched. The Verthax, recognizing the significance of the Ark, targeted it with relentless precision. The underground facility trembled as explosions erupted closer, dust cascading from the ceiling like a grim reminder of their precarious situation. Despite the chaos, Alara couldn't allow herself to succumb to despair. She gathered her team, her voice resolute. "We've lost too much already. We have to make this sacrifice count. We need to hold them off long enough for the rest of the civilians to escape." With a heavy heart, Alara devised a desperate plan. They would create a distraction, a final stand to draw the Verthax attention away from the evacuation route. It was a high-risk maneuver, but she knew it was the only chance they had to save the remaining survivors. As they prepared for their last stand, Alara felt a sense of calm wash over her. This was not just about survival, it was about defiance. They would show the Verthax that humanity would not be extinguished quietly. With weapons in hand and determination blazing in their hearts, they stepped into the darkness, ready to fight against the overwhelming tide of destruction. The battle began anew, but this time it was a furious blaze of fire and fury. Alara led the charge, adrenaline surging through her veins as she fought for every inch of ground, determined to protect her home and the lives of those she had come to love. As the dust settled and the chaos raged, she knew one thing for certain: they would go down fighting. The deafening cacophony of explosions gradually subsided, replaced by an eerie silence that hung heavy in the air. The last stand had been both brutal and tragic, and the remnants of the Ark lay in ruins, a stark reminder of their once thriving sanctuary. Alara Voss surveyed the destruction, her heart aching as she counted the losses. The sacrifice of her team weighed heavily on her shoulders, yet in the depths of her grief, a flicker of determination ignited. They had fought valiantly, but the battle was far from over. In the aftermath of devastation, the remaining survivors of the Ark convened in the depths of the facility, now more a tomb than a refuge. The dimly lit room buzzed with anxious energy as they gathered around a central table strewn with maps and blueprints of technology salvaged from the wreckage. Alara stood before them, her resolve hardening as she prepared to speak. "Listen to me," she began, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "We have lost much, but we still have the potential to rebuild. The Genesis Project must begin now. It's our only hope for creating a new world from the ashes of the old." The faces surrounding her reflected a mix of determination and doubt. Lena, still reeling from their losses, stepped forward. "Alara, we're not equipped for this. We have no resources, no manpower. How can we possibly hope to restore life to this planet?" Alara met Lena's gaze with fierce intensity. "We may not have everything we need, but we have our knowledge, our spirit, and each other. If we can harness the remnants of our technology and the genetic material we've collected, we can create a self-sustaining ecosystem capable of thriving, even in these harsh conditions." With newfound resolve, Alara and her team set to work, gathering everything they could salvage from the wreckage. They repurposed old agricultural technology, integrating it with what little remained of the Ark's advanced systems. Each day was filled with grueling labor, yet a sense of purpose bound them together, driving them forward. As the weeks passed, they transformed a small section of the facility into a makeshift greenhouse. Seeds saved from the last crops grown on Earth were carefully nurtured, and to everyone's amazement, tiny sprouts began to emerge from the soil. The sight of life breaking through the darkness filled the survivors with hope. However, the journey was not without its challenges. As they worked tirelessly, tensions within the group began to rise. Some members of the team, driven by anger and the desire for revenge against the Verthax, questioned the wisdom of Alara's peaceful approach. "Why are we wasting our time growing plants when we should be preparing to fight back?" one of the soldiers shouted during a heated meeting. Alara raised her hand, silencing the room. "This is not just about us. It's about the future of humanity. We must be stronger than our enemies, but that strength lies in our ability to create, not destroy. We need to prove that we can rise from this destruction and thrive. We must build a legacy, not a weapon." The arguments slowly faded, replaced by a sense of unity as the team began to see the bigger picture. As they cultivated the greenhouse, the air filled with the sweet scent of growing plants, and the spirit of hope began to bloom alongside them. One day, as Alara tended to the emerging sprouts, a faint, distant signal flickered on their communication devices. With excitement, the team gathered around the monitor as Lena decoded the message. It was a distress signal from another underground facility, possibly one of the last remaining outposts of humanity. "Commander," Lena said, eyes wide with anticipation. "This could be a chance to connect with others and share our vision. They may have resources and knowledge we can use for the Genesis Project." Alara felt a thrill of hope surge within her. "Then let's reach out to them. This is our moment to not just survive, but to expand, to learn, and to flourish." With renewed purpose, the Genesis Project took on a new meaning. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about creating a new legacy for humanity, one born from resilience, cooperation, and hope. A legacy that could unite the remnants of a broken world. The weeks turned into months, and the Genesis Project began to flourish within the Ark's underground sanctuary. The once barren landscape of the greenhouse had transformed into a vibrant oasis teeming with life. Lush green plants spread across every available surface, their leaves reaching for the simulated sunlight generated by the overhead panels. The air, once stale and filled with despair, now carried the sweet fragrance of blooming flowers and ripe fruits, a testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. Alara Voss looked over the bustling activity in the greenhouse with a sense of pride. Children, the first generation born in the Ark, laughed and played among the rows of vegetables, their innocent joy a stark contrast to the somber memories of their parents' struggles. The community had formed a close-knit family, bonded by shared goals and mutual survival. Yet, Alara understood that their existence remained precarious. Outside the facility, the scars of war still lingered. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the bustling greenhouse, a crackling sound echoed through the communication room. The signal they had been waiting for had finally come through, a message from the distant outpost they had attempted to contact weeks earlier. Ilara rushed to the terminal, her heart racing with anticipation. "Put it on the main screen," she commanded, gathering the eager faces of her team around her. The static cleared, revealing a weary but determined face. Commander Ryan O'Neill of the outpost appeared, his eyes reflecting the struggles they had faced. "This is Commander O'Neill. We've been monitoring your progress with great interest. Your Genesis project has inspired hope among our people. We need to join forces." Cheers erupted in the room, but Ilara raised her hand for silence. "What's the situation at your outpost?" she asked, concern etched on her face. "We've lost many, and our resources are dwindling. But we have knowledge, research on alternative energy sources, food cultivation, and advanced agricultural techniques that could bolster your efforts. Together, we can expand and thrive, but we must act quickly before the Verthax return." Ilara felt a surge of determination. "We'll send a team to rendezvous with you immediately. We need to establish a connection and share our resources. It's time to show the Verthax that humanity is united and stronger than ever." Within hours, Ilara organized a team of engineers and scientists to head to the outpost, a daunting journey that could lead to perilous encounters. As they prepared for departure, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement and nervous energy. Ilara gathered her team for a final briefing, her heart pounding with the weight of responsibility. "Remember, our mission is not just to survive, it's to thrive and build a new future. We must extend our hand to others, share our knowledge, and show the universe what humanity is capable of. We faced devastation and risen from the ashes. Let's prove that our legacy is one of hope and cooperation." The team nodded, determination flickering in their eyes as they set out on their journey. The remnants of their homeworld had taught them that every step forward was a victory, and they would carry the torch of hope into the unknown. As they traversed the ravaged landscapes, the scars of the Verthax invasion were evident everywhere. Burned-out cities, crumbling buildings, and remnants of technology lay scattered across the terrain. Yet amid the destruction, new life was beginning to emerge, with green shoots breaking through the ashes. After days of travel, the team finally reached the outpost. A sense of camaraderie enveloped them as they exchanged stories and resources, pooling their knowledge to create a unified plan for the Genesis project. Ilara felt a warmth spreading through her chest as they worked side by side, a powerful reminder that together they could forge a brighter future. That evening, as the two communities gathered under the stars for a joint celebration, laughter and music filled the air. For the first time since the invasion, Ilara felt a deep sense of hope blossoming in her heart. Humanity was rising anew, not just from survival, but through connection, collaboration, and an unwavering belief in a shared future. As she looked around at the faces illuminated by the glow of makeshift lanterns, Ilara knew that they were on the cusp of something extraordinary. They had endured the darkest of times, and now they stood at the dawn of a new era, ready to reclaim their place in the universe. With the combined efforts of the Ark and the Outpost, the Genesis project blossomed into a thriving ecosystem. The collaboration resulted in innovative agricultural techniques that not only revitalized the land, but also provided sustenance for both communities. The once scarred landscape began to show signs of recovery, and the vibrant green fields contrasted sharply with the memories of destruction that lingered in the minds of the survivors. As the months passed, the bond between the two groups deepened, transcending their shared hardships. Together, they created a council to govern their newly formed alliance, with representatives from both communities working side by side. Ilara, alongside Commander O'Neill, fostered a vision of cooperation that extended beyond mere survival. They were determined to build a legacy of hope, resilience, and unity. One day, as the sun rose over the rejuvenated landscape, Alara gathered the council for an important discussion. The Verthax had not been silent since their retreat, and rumors of a new invasion had begun to circulate. Despite their newfound strength, the looming threat weighed heavily on their hearts. "We've proven that we can rebuild and thrive," Alara began, her voice steady yet filled with urgency. "But we cannot ignore the threat that still exists. We need to prepare not just for survival, but for defense. We must send a message to the Verthax that we are no longer a broken world. We are united, and we will fight to protect our future." The council members exchanged worried glances, but the resolute determination in Alara's eyes inspired a newfound sense of purpose. "We have the knowledge of advanced technology and weaponry that can safeguard our people. Let's repurpose what we have learned and create defenses that can protect our home." Plans were set into motion, and the community rallied to build defenses. The resources harvested from the land fueled their efforts, and the collaborative spirit that had been forged in the aftermath of despair transformed their combined knowledge into a formidable force. Workshops buzzed with activity as engineers and scientists designed new technologies to fortify their defenses. Children, too, played their part, collecting materials and assisting wherever they could, their laughter echoing through the air like a promise of a brighter tomorrow. As the months passed, the communities thrived, creating a self-sustaining environment. They cultivated gardens, established schools for the next generation, and celebrated the resurgence of life. Festivals of unity became commonplace, and the once terrifying memories of destruction were slowly replaced by a spirit of resilience. They were no longer just survivors. They were pioneers, rebuilding their world with determination and hope. One fateful day, as the newly fortified settlement welcomed visitors from neighboring communities, an urgent message arrived. The Verthax fleet had been sighted, and they were approaching. This time, the fear that had once gripped the hearts of the survivors was replaced with a sense of preparedness. As the council convened, Alara stood firm, her voice unwavering. "We will not cower in the face of adversity. We will stand together, united in our belief that we are worth fighting for. Our legacy will not be defined by fear, but by courage, cooperation, and hope." The community gathered, and as they prepared to face the Verthax once more, Alara felt a profound sense of unity enveloping them. The knowledge and strength they had cultivated would not only defend their home, but would also send a message across the stars. Humanity was not to be underestimated. When the Verthax arrived, they found not a broken people, but a united front. The battle was fierce, but the resolve of the newly forged alliance was unyielding. Together, they fought not just for survival, but for the legacy they would leave behind. As the dust settled and the last remnants of the conflict faded into the horizon, Alara stood before her people. They had emerged from the battle not just as survivors, but as a testament to humanity's resilience. In the aftermath of destruction, they had built a new home, a thriving community that honored the past while embracing the future. The legacy of humanity would be one of courage, cooperation, and an unwavering belief that even in the darkest times, hope could light the way. As they looked toward the stars, Alara knew that this was just the beginning of their journey, a journey that would echo through the cosmos, inspiring future generations to rise and build a better world, no matter the odds.